that wants to kick people, take away healthcare.
Like ContraPoints is not like fucking like talking about whether or not to vote for Republicans if it means like whatever, because the Republicans are objectively worse, right? The Republicans are objectively worse on Israel versus Palestine. So I don't even know why this is like a question right now, right? So yeah, it doesn't really make any sense to ask this question because they would objectively be worse on Israel versus Palestine. Because I get it. I get what she's asking. She's saying, would you consider voting for them if, you know, if it means like less deaths in Gaza, right? If the Democrats would continue to do deaths, but it's objectively true that according to the calculus, yeah, if you vote for Republicans, it'll be way worse for Israel versus Palestine. It's so
from
silly.
people, and that wants to install Supreme Court judges that could be disastrous for minority rights, equal rights, and just constitutional protections for every single American. That always has to be weighed against these numbers, right?
Yeah, I would take a look at like projections for how each individual policy is expected to, you know, have an impact in terms of like lives lost or, you know, any number of other variables. But if you give me an option to like save 14 million people by voting for a Republican in one election, I'm going to think about it at minimum, you know, like that's just a really...
Think about it. You said you would do it.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I think I'd probably do it. Yeah. Like that's a lot of, that's a lot of people.
I would consider doing it, but I also have to consider all of the other things because we're talking about unseen harms, right? We're not talking about, like, there is a difference between perpetual.
Oh, I get it now. So it's vibes. It's vibes versus 4 billion people? It's vibes. It's vibes versus 4 billion people. Is that what we're talking about? Really?
Perpetuating an active and like aiding and abetting an active genocide, transferring weapons and contributing directly to that versus...
Yeah, the Republicans are doing that, you fucking moron. That's what the Republicans are doing, but everyone's been blasting Joe Biden and wasting that time blasting Joe Biden when the entire time you kind of been blasting the Republicans and causing them to lose the election. I mean, the fact that the left has possibly cost like Democrats the election is maddening to me. Like the fact that based off of this, you know, it could entirely be the case that it cost us the election is unhinged.
Is a cut, you know, and somebody's going to die from neglect. Because would you say, like, if I abstain from donating to a charity that guarantees it saves 2 people every single month, that me not doing that is tantamount to me killing those 2 people?
No, I wouldn't say that that's exactly the same thing. Like we're talking, like I feel like a government structure
so what's the difference?
It intuitively feels different. I'd have to think about like why I feel like that's different. Yeah, I mean, like if you're giving me a more extreme example, like if you say like, well, if you donate $5 to this charity, you could save like, I don't know. That's a good question. And I have to think about it. But intuitively, it feels very different.
But that's where I'm coming from, is that to me, like, it should feel intuitively very different because you can make these calculations, but like, let's use your USAID thing, because what you said is, do you mind if I play it actually for my stream, like the moment in your VOD where you said it?
Yeah, that's fine. Obviously, that's death on a scale that human beings can't comprehend. It's horrifying. I cannot imagine being subjected to those kinds of conditions. And yet, when we are confronted with the potential global impact of winding down our USAID programs, estimates are that 14 million people are going to die. Can we just pause on that for a second? How many people globally have died from COVID? Was that the gist of it, or is there another thing here?
Yeah. You'll talk about like COVID deaths. Or,
yeah.
Okay. So my point with showing that is like, I guess this is like this logic or whatever followed to its natural conclusion is almost like any funding denied to USAID or declining to expand it is tantamount to consciously increasing like a death count.
No, I didn't say consciously.
But
how do you get rid of your screen? Because your screen is still on my screen here. Stop watching. There we go. There.
Yeah, there you go. It's tantamount to like increasing a death count because like you're saying it's almost like there's almost functionally no different between us, but by withholding aid, there's like almost no difference between like intentionally killing them, or people should almost conceive of it that way.
I
No?
don't know. I don't think
That's not
I.
what you mean. Feel free to clarify.
No, I don't think that. I don't think that I don't think I'm saying that. I know I'm not saying that people are consciously choosing to kill this or that person because they vote. But like any, especially presidential election, because this is just such an impactful, influential position on the global stage. Or why don't I just compare it to like so. Are you not undermining like Palestinian advocacy? Like, are you not undermining the idea that, you know, people that were activists for Palestinians in 2024, you know, the big pitch there was like, look at all these people dying. We need to do something about this. Aren't I doing the same thing?
Because if people believe it's a genocide, and you're talking to somebody who does believe that, we don't judge it just by body count alone, right? You have to factor in like what is the intent behind these deaths? How immediate is it that we could intervene? Like how preventable is it, right?
So
And
because
the
you
USAID thing, you're turning it into like again, you're comparing like you're like okay, but if you care about preventing death, right, then you should care more about the 14 million people that will die
It's not
globally
Diablo
from
4,
USAID
dude.
cuts than you should from a population that's intentionally being eliminated.
well, I'm making the point that elections have like intense consequences, and like this.
By using this example with these death counts or whatever. But
Yeah.
if we did this, we could. There's room for like minimizing the Holocaust by doing this. The Holocaust killed 12 million people. It was between 1941 and 1945. The industrial Nazi Holocaust killed 6 million Jews and then 6 million undesirables or other people that were also exterminated. And but in 2030 is only 5 years away, and these USAID cuts will be 14 million people. So let's say we're like you're making this pitch to voters or to people. You're like live streaming in 1940. Let's pretend there's the possibility for you to do that, and you have a contingent of Democratic voters that are like, I'm upset about the Holocaust, and thus far, 6 million people have died or whatever, and it's projected to be 12 million in just 4 years if we continue going down this path. And you're saying, yeah, but there's also a projection that if like the other party wants to cut USAID, and that's going to lead to 14 million people.
I don't know why the calculus is between I don't know why the calculus here is between whether or not you should have USAID versus what? Versus continuing supplying Israel? Is that the calculus here? That's not the calculus though. That's not what the decision making is based off of. One side is so the Republicans are pro cutting USAID, so killing a bunch of people, and they're pro like arming Israel more than Democrats. You tell me who you should focus your efforts on, right? To me, it's very clear. To me, it's very clear to me that you should focus your efforts on going against the Republicans and getting people to vote Democrat, right? It's very clear to me. But right now, Straighter is trying to frame this as if it's like you have to choose one. Why? Why do you have to choose one? You are trying to grasp at straws here in order to get Hutch to concede.
People dying than for.
Well, no.
USAID cuts are actually objectively more harmful than the Holocaust.
No, in order for your analogy to make
Is that
sense,
solid bombs?
whatever
It's
death
retarded.
count, like let's say you have a Democratic Party that wants to end the Holocaust, and then you have a Republican Party that wants to make cuts that would result in literally 200 times the amount of people dying.
That's even Hutch's example. Even Hutch's example is unnecessary. Because again, the reality of the situation is that Republicans are just worse in every conceivable way. But the lefties are focusing on the Democrats. That is the apt example here, right? It's just that the lefties are focusing on Democrats when the Republicans are literally worse in every conceivable way. That makes no sense. It just makes no sense to be focusing on the Democrats unless you just want to feel good about yourself, and that's literally it, right? Because you hate the Democrats more than you hate Republicans, but you just want a convenient excuse, right? But the excuse itself doesn't make any sense, because if you actually cared about Israel versus Palestine, you would advocate voting for the Democrats, right?
But like, what's your or like? Sorry, repeat that. I was distracted by chat. But repeat that.
I think your analogy is imperfect because what I'm suggesting is that like USAID cuts, you know, it's not like voters had a crystal ball and knew that he was going to cut it to the extent that he did, but we knew that he was going to take action that would like I mean, did you have any doubt? Like I had no doubt that Donald Trump was going to take action as president that would result in more harm, more suffering, and more death. I didn't know it was going to be 14 million people, but in order for your analogy to make any sense, like if I'm measuring Gaza deaths to 14 million dead from USAID cuts. It's like a 200 to 1 ratio here. So whatever the Holocaust situation,
like,
you would have to have like
less.
a 2.
But you're saying, but it's still less, and that's why it's more. The 14 million is more harmful. But I'm saying I'm using the Holocaust to compare it because it's like, okay, let's make the death counts very, very close, but it's still less. At that point,
well, that would be a different calculation, right?
But why? Because if
I'm starting to think that lefties really love dead Jews. Okay, they love bringing up the Holocaust so fucking much. And then they love bringing up like how bad the Zionists are, that I have no other explanation for this other than the fact that they really hate Jewish people. Right? It's literally the only it's the only explanation that makes sense to me, dude.
if it just comes down to always
Crystal
minimize
ball?
like harm reduction ruthlessly, no matter what, 12 million is still less than 14
What?
million. So using that logic,
Why?
then
Why are we like
the
this?
USAID cuts are still objectively more harmful. Why is it that like it needs to be that close for you to make it different, to start factoring in other things?
It's just about scale. Like when I think about elections and the consequences of these elections, I try to think about things as holistically as possible. You know, I understand being passionate about Gaza, but I don't think that or any other.
Oh, hold on. Do you mean Gaza? Do you mean Gaza? Ooh, be careful there. Okay.
Conflict in the world or any single issue should be the only thing that voters think about. I try to think about like how are education cuts going to impact things, or how are emission standards changing going to impact things? How is like hollowing out the federal government going to change things? Like I try to think about like raw death counts, or, you know, like what if he gets us in a war with Iran? Like,
You know what I think? I think leftism is a perfect ideology for people who feel incredibly insecure about themselves, okay? If you really think about it, it's objectively true, all right? You want some cause so then you can champion, and at all costs, you place yourself above everything else. Your own insecurity is driving other people dead, okay? Your own insecurity is harming other people. It's the ultimate form of giving in to your insecurities. That's what it is, okay? You know how someone is like jealous and insecure and a fucking douchebag to everyone around them just because they're insecure? Like leftism is basically that, but I like made into a political ideology. That's what it is, right? You yourself, you can't conceive of any world except for feeling good about yourself. So instead of actually going against the Republicans, what you do is that you go against the Democrats, sabotage the Democrats' fucking efforts, get Donald Trump in office, and say that you were right all along, when in essence you were the one that caused all the issues in the first place. It's like the bipolar, manic, fucking borderline disorder version of a political ideology. It's like a BPD girl coalesced into a fucking belief system. That's what it is, right? Like what other definition is this, like between the manic and like depressive states of BPD, except like fucking, you know, fucking coalesced into like a political ideology, right? Yeah, I gotta love BBD princess. Well, I mean, like leftism is just a BBD princess, but you know, a fucking political ideology, right? But in essence, like I bet that they cheer when a Republican is in power, like secretly. Like I know that in public they have to go like, oh my god, it sucks so much that Trump is president. Guys, can we get more purple hearts in the chat? But like I can tell that they fucking froth at the mouth of telling a liberal that, hey, by the way, it's your own fucking liberal inactions and your fucking, you know, refusal to identify capitalism as like the main like cause of every single ill will in the fucking world that caused like Trump to be in power. They froth at the mouth of telling a liberal, "I told you so," right? Even though they are the ones that caused everything bad to be happen and infiltrated the fucking Democratic Party, right, with their stupid fucking ideology and their super fucking retarded belief system, right? Like in essence, like they are the ultimate saboteurs of the Republican Party. You couldn't come up with a better fucking conspiracy if you tried, if you just simply said it's the Republicans that hired the lefties to sabotage the Democratic Party. And in essence, it's kind of true if you think about it, because the Kremlin is literally funding like leftist pundits, all right, in order to wedge in these like cringe lefty beliefs into the Democrats, so then we would actually begin to lose the election. I am 100% like sure that this is the thought process of all the fucking CCP and Kremlin like top tier decision makers, that they're literally thinking, okay, how do we make it so then the Democrats are the least effective possible? Oh, perfect, we'll get the lefties. All right, we'll get the lefties to infiltrate the Democrats, and then this is how we're gonna win with Trump, right? Like 100% is the case.
I think about all of these things when I make my decision in any election. And so far, the Democrats represent such a, like, if you want to look at it through that prism of like the lesser evil.
I feel like you did. By bringing up the comparison to the USAID thing.
No. What I was going to say, wait, hold on.
I'm trying to understand somebody who does.
What I was going to say is, if you want to look at it through a prism of like the lesser evil, which I think is a flawed way to look at it, because quite frankly,
chaos, not chaos, whatever it is, it doesn't really, I mean, clearly they like Trump, right? Fuck.
I think the Democrats do a lot of good things. I think Joe Biden did a lot of good things when he was president. So it's not just about like lesser evil, but like I do think that elections ultimately boil down to that, like who's going to do the most good and the least harm. And so I don't know if you're telling me that because this particular case in Gaza is of an egregious nature because of the like what you describe as genocide, or like what Israel is actually doing. I don't. To me, that's not like the most compelling argument.
Hutch, what you describe as genocide. Is Straight Away going to be pissy about that? Excuse me? What you describe as genocide? Don't you know that actually there's a genocide going on?
That I should weigh that more than like 14 million potentially dead from USAID cuts. That's not me saying. That's not me saying that Gaza is no big deal.
The election was coming.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, if I could go back with a crystal ball and show a voter back, like a person who's like,
So we had to make the pitch with the information that we had, and I think even if we could have those projections, I don't know how convincing it is to voters to point to hypothetical future.
Oh, it's about like what you had. Well, but even what you had doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Are you fucking joking? Are you fucking kidding me? What? But what you had wasn't working either. What are you talking about? Because at the time, you knew for a fact that the Republicans would be way worse for Israel versus Palestine. Did you actually think the Republicans were going to be better, like enabling Netanyahu doing the things that he's doing right now? Like, fuck me, dude. This is actual, like, fucking delusion.
And get them to ignore the...
Well, no, it was just...
No, like, forget about USAID, right? Because this USAID question is up in the air, whatever the fuck. I don't give a fuck. The point here is, like, Israel versus Palestine. Fuck, like, did you really think the Republicans were going to be better for Israel versus Palestine?
No, but it was just a thought experiment. I'm not literally thinking that we have the technology to go back in time. But, like, if you want to do it that way, I think the obvious pitch was like, look, I know you're pissed.
And if you think that the Democrats were going to win, and you want to push for Israel versus Palestine early in terms of the Democrats, I don't know, dude. Like, fuck. You should have focused all your power into defeating the Republicans first before pushing for that. Because you would have had 4 years to push the Democrats on being, like, anti-genocide, after the Democrats got into office. The fact that you were even pushing for it when Joe Biden was in office goes to show how much you fucking despise the Democrats a lot more than the fucking Republicans, who had, like, actual rapists and actual, like, fucking the worst fucking people, the most racist, most rapey fucking people ever, like, fucking
Biden for everything he did for with Israel. I share that frustration. He was way too cozy with Netanyahu. He was way too publicly like embracing of him, and he didn't do enough to constrain Israel and IDF. I fully agree with that. However, the Kamala Harris is not Joe Biden. She's not distancing herself, and I think that's stupid, but she's not Joe Biden. I don't expect her to be as coddling as Biden was.
Martini, shaken, not stirred. I've been busy at work, just stocking the shelves at the food shop.
Base, dude. Hey, night shift. That's pretty hard. Dingus, thank you so much for the $10. Okay, I appreciate it. Okay. Yeah. Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. I don't know if we're gonna finish this today. Like, this is a very, very long. The Contrapoints debate is literally the entire thing. But yeah, thank you so much for the support. W Dingus. Okay, W Dingus. W Dingus. W Dingus. Okay. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And number two, Donald Trump in 2024, what was he saying about Gaza? All he was saying was, we got to let him finish the job. That's all it was.
Yeah,
and like anybody with two brain cells.
He made his pitch to voters better than Kamala Harris did on this specific thing because they both
Evidently. I mean, yeah.
Kamala Harris, I know, but it was so obvious that it was clearly the worst strategy that she was deliberately picking. Like Kamala Harris took Bill Clinton to Dearborn to tell a bunch of Muslim voters that she knows she's not doing very well with, to get him to lecture them about Judea and Samaria. And
Oh, okay, so let's be very clear about this. You don't like the Democrats because they are cringy to you, which, I mean, yeah, like, fuck, I'll agree with you on that. They're cringy, right? But the thing is that you're comparing cringe. You're comparing cringe, okay, to people fucking dying all around the world, including in the United States, and especially in motherfucking Israel versus Palestine. That's what you're comparing it to. So you're saying that the Democrats being cringe is comparable to an actual rapist in the White House who has been convicted of raping someone, okay? Are you actually fucking kidding? Have you listened to yourself talk or speak in the last fucking 10 minutes, mate? You are a fucking retard. You are a moron. You are a betrayer. You betrayed Destiny. You betrayed Not So Erudite. You betrayed Pixie. And now you have no one left except to turn to Hutch for your retarded fucking takes. I think that you should sit down, shut the fuck up, lay the fuck down, and hide under a rock, okay? Because that's the best thing you're good at, okay? Leftists are the best at being cowards, at being horrible people, at being the most insecure, most degenerate of motherfuckers ever, all right? You should buy the nearest rope, okay? That's what you should do, okay? You fucking piece of shit, okay? You don't deserve to have a platform, okay? Fuck you. I hope no one follows you. I hope no one listens to you because people like you are destroying our country, okay? You are in cahoots with the Republicans, no matter whether or not you like it or not, okay? Whether or not you like it, you are in cahoots with the Republicans to destroy proper lives being saved, the lives of immigrants being shipped off to literal fucking concentration camps, okay? Fuck you, dude. If the Holocaust happened, you would still find a way to blame the Democrats, okay? That is the truth of the matter. Fuck you, and fuck you and your family. Fuck your entire lineage, okay? Go to hell, all right? That's what I think. Anyway, I'm gonna say this for the rest of tomorrow, okay? Fuck this shit. It's way too late for me to be angry at this shit, dude. Like, listening to these people fucking suck. That's what it is. Let me save this. Okay. Okay, calm down. All right. I'm chill. I really wouldn't place Hutch and Aaron as being together. Yeah, 100%. This stupid fucking hell. And Hutch never backed down. You know what's gonna happen? I bet I wouldn't even be surprised if Aaron fucking betrayed him, okay? I wouldn't be surprised if Aaron ended up leaking his fucking DMs, okay? 100%. There's no fucking shot that is not the case, okay? No fucking shot that is not the case. Yeah. like give me a fucking break, dude. Yeah.
like, do you think?
Oh, fuck. Okay, all right, we gotta save this for another time. Guys, if you guys support my work, if you guys support what I do, all right, if you guys support, you know, my content, again, okay, just a reminder, okay, you guys can always donate. Donating always helps. Donating is awesome. Donating is base. Holy fuck, is that a plus 75% physical damage? Hey, yo, dude, what the fuck? Oh, that's crazy. Okay, thank you guys so much. Okay, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys later, okay? Fuck. Okay, yeah, that's it. Okay, I'll see you guys. Bye. Good night. For all. Wait, can you guys join my Discord server? Here. Remember, it's discord.gg/foodshops, okay? Discord.gg/foodshops. Discord.gg/foodshops. Remember to donate, okay? Support me, okay? I'm like one of the only content creators that covers this kind of content. Okay, I'm like doing a lot of heavy lifting. You know what I mean? All right, guys. See you guys. Bye. Good night. Farewell. See ya.